Do you ever feel like your vocals get lost in the mix with heavy guitars and synths, sounding a bit like this? But you want something that's more like this. Well, you're not alone, and that's why today I'm diving deep into how to make your vocals not just fit, but thrive in dense mixes. In this video, we're focusing on metal, but these techniques can be applied to other genres like EDM and pop music. So put your goggles on and grab an oxygen tank, and let's uncover the essential techniques that will consistently deliver clear and upfront vocals in your tracks. Hey guys, Joey here, and in today's video, we'll break down the art of making vocals cut through metal mixes. No matter how many layers of guitars and synths are dominating the track. Here's a quick thought. Why did the vocalists get locked outside of their studio? Because they couldn't find the right key. Alright, anyway, on to the video. First of all, I want to start with some myth busting. I've heard countless mixes over the years with overprocessed vocals. Too much compression, excessive EQ, crazy amounts of saturation, and the fader turned up 3 dB louder than it should be. The mixes were chaotic. And this happens when someone is trying to fix a vocal that isn't actually broken. Oftentimes, these countermeasures are taken because the other mid-range elements are masking the vocals, holding them back from the spotlight. Let's begin by creating a solid lead vocal tone. I'll simplify this part by loading Gain Reduction Deluxe with default settings directly onto the vocal track. This is going to give me clear, upfront, and aggressive vocals with its built-in EQ, compression, and saturation settings. This plugin has taken everything great about this vocal and made it even better. Lower the fader, play the instrumental, and slowly raise the vocal until it just sits above the instruments. If you need help with finding that sweet spot, load a reference track at the same volume as your mix and compare the vocal balance between the two. Extra points if you do this in mono as well. Most DAWs have a way to listen to your playback in mono, and if you don't, you can just use a plugin. And if you don't already have a copy of Gain Reduction Deluxe, you can download your free 14-day trial and follow along with this video. And if you want to learn how to mix vocals like a pro in 6 simple steps, you can click the link in the description below. In modern metal, distorting the mid-range and top end of the bass guitar is pretty common. Even though this technique extends the rhythm guitars and sounds cool, it also clutters the center channel with extra frequencies that mask the vocals. Removing these masking frequencies is essential. Pay close attention to the areas such as the 400 to 500 Hz range and the 1.5 to 2.5 kHz range. Finally, use a low-pass filter to remove unwanted top end. It's not needed and it takes up room where the vocal sits in the spectrum. Now let's listen to how these areas mask the vocals by boosting frequency ranges, and this is going to make the vocal harder to hear.
Thank you for it. You have made me, and I rebuild myself. This flow is within. I was reborn. I survived control. I realize.
The thing about distorted guitars is they sound epic, giving a song momentum and aggression, but the frequency spectrum gets filled up at the same time. The guitars are using frequencies from all the way down here around 60 Hz to all the way up here around 16 kHz. That makes them a challenge to carve into the mix. So first of all, we're going to find the balance of the guitars by turning the volume all the way down, and then we're going to slowly raise it back up until they sit underneath the vocals, but they fill out the stereo field. And if you're a guitarist, you'll probably want to turn them down by another few dB. This can be tough, so use your reference track from earlier if you need help. Now that the guitars are balanced with the mix, it's time to load an EQ. Guitars often sit quite well in the 1 kHz area. The key areas where you're going to want to cut frequencies is between 500 and 800 Hz and around the 2000 Hz range. Make cuts in both of these areas to give the vocals some space to cut through. And if you lose some clarity, make a small boost at 1K with a wide Q. Apply high-pass and low-pass filters to remove the excess frequencies. The lower you set the low pass, the more fizz will be removed. Finally, tackle some harsh whistles in the 3 kHz to 4 kHz range. Remove these to make the tone smoother. After these EQ adjustments, you might need to adjust the fader level as volume can be lost when you're cutting frequencies. Finally, if no amount of EQ is making your guitars fit into the mix and it's not giving you clear vocals, your next option is to make changes to the cabinet or the microphone. This can be especially easy when using an amp sim. Some virtual cabinets have the option to switch out cabinets and make adjustments to the microphone's position. If that's not possible, change out the impulse responses and find one that fits better into your mix. Modern metal has come to use tons of synthesizers and sound design techniques throughout its various subgenres. This makes your job as a mixer challenging because they take up the same areas of both vocals and guitars. So far, the vocals are focused around the 2000 Hz area and the guitars are focused around the 1000 Hz area. That means there's a choice to make. The synths will either have to go above 2000 Hz or beneath 1000 Hz. I'm going to recommend placing them beneath the guitars in the 800 Hz to 900 Hz range. This is because above 2K, the frequencies start to get really harsh and you don't want to hurt your listeners' ears. Finally, it's time to introduce all the additional vocal tracks, including the doubles and harmonies. This will fill out the mix, creating powerful and upfront vocals because the heavy lifting has been taken care of. Space has been made in the frequency spectrum from all the EQ moves done on the other tracks. And if you feel like a little more vocal clarity is needed, you can drop an EQ on the vocal bus and play around with making small boosts at around 8,000 Hz, 2,000 Hz, and 750 Hz. And there you go. This is how myself and other professionals have made massive sounding mixes while always keeping the vocals on top. Let's do a quick recap of what we covered. Throughout this video, I showed you how to carve an aggressive bass tone, EQ guitars to slot into the mix, and guide synths into the surrounding space, all while prioritizing vocal clarity. Remember, each track affects the others, so consider the overall impact of each adjustment that you make. Use these techniques to make your vocals the centerpiece of your next heavy track. What technique did you find the most eye-opening? Share them in the comments below. If you're looking to dive deeper into the world of audio mixing and mastering, don't forget to check out the range of plugins over at Joey Sturgis Tones. While today's focus wasn't necessarily about specific JST plugins, our tools like Gain Reduction Deluxe and ToneForge Disruptor are designed from the ground up to help you achieve professional-grade sound, allowing you to mix heavy music without a heavy price tag. You can learn all about this and more and download your 14-day free trials of both of these plugins over at our website at the one and only joeysturgistones.com. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to check the links in the description below and tap that bell to get notified whenever we upload new videos. Until next time, happy mixing.